Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zack Parkerson.
Welcome to Smirk, which is a mixture of creative storytelling and spirited discussion. First, one of our authors is going to deliver their story. Then afterward, we're going to have a talk about it. We're going to find out exactly what their point was, what their moral, quote-unquote, of their story was, as well as what they want to talk about throughout the episode. This week, it is Zack's turn. Zack, are you ready to entertain us?
Yes, I'm ready. Story time. Sarah and John are in love. Pure, unadulterated love. They've been together for over a year and a half now. They live a good life in a good apartment with two cute little pups. They're happy in a way few people truly are. They met at Sarah's work. She works at a men's fashion store in a big city. John used to come in to pick new suits out for his job, and as they saw more and more of each other, flirtation naturally commenced. It was Sarah who finally made the first move, reprimanding John for not having asked her out sooner. They went out to a tasteful dinner, and the rest is history. John asked Sarah to move in only about 6 months into the relationship, so strong was their connection. She said yes almost instantly, surprising even herself. Love was, and still is, in the air. Fast forward to present day. John has big plans tonight. He's booked a table at their favorite restaurant, and he plans to propose. They arrive at the restaurant, and things are a little too obvious. The maitre d' has had rose petals leading the way to their table, a fresh bottle of the finest wine, and a server already present and waiting. Way to ruin the surprise, John thinks to himself. Sarah's confident she knows what's about to happen as well, and she's excited. Needless to say, dinner concludes, and John drops to a single knee and asks the magic question. Sarah squeals with excitement and screams yes. However, she immediately hesitates after saying yes. Sarah needs John to meet her family first, and he never has. But John has always avoided the topic of meeting her family because he's nervous. He has a pretty good idea of how they'll react already. Sarah is ever the optimist, but she doesn't seem to grasp the situation. What will her parents think of John, considering Sarah's 25 and John's 55?
Whoa! Plot twist.
Woo!
Yeah. Bury the lead on that one. So, what do you guys think the point of that story was?
Oh, that was
Age difference.
That was the end of the story?
Oh, yeah. I'm leaving it on a cliffhanger. Probably more obvious this moral.
Age difference? That's what you
Age
think?
difference.
I have judgments in age on dating, or age ain't nothing but a number.
I like age ain't nothing but a number.
I mean, it could be, why haven't you met her parents yet? What's up with that? Why can't you bring it? Why are you ashamed of him? Because he's old? Are you an ageist? I mean, you could go with
Are
that.
you an ageist?
That's kind of what
John's
I'm
always
getting.
avoided the topic of meeting her family, Aaron.
So he's maybe ashamed
John.
or worried.
John is definitely more concerned than Sarah is.
Really? What? I didn't get that. That son of a bitch. Why is he ashamed of her? Because she's young? Because she's nubile?
Ageist?
Yeah, bunch of ageists in the story.
I don't understand. They're never going to make it. Like this couple,
Wow.
it's just not going to happen for him. I'm sorry. They should cut it out. Get out. Get out now.
So, glad Aaron's here.
Yeah.
So we
Just
were right.
Jordan Peele that shit. Right?
Yeah, you guys get it. That's fine. I figured the plot twist would kind of give away the story moral.
It was fun. I wasn't
here
expecting that.
No,
There we
yeah,
go.
age difference is a common topic today. Have you ever been to Vegas? Have you either one of you ever been to Las Vegas?
Nah.
Yeah.
That story basically is all that is there. Every guy is about 80 or 60 to 80, and every woman that they are with is 25 or 30.
I have a question.
30's a little old. Come on.
That is true. Sometimes they walk in with a manger. I mean, they're just
In your story, is he like a sugar daddy type of guy where he's looking for a young thing, or did they really like genuinely? I mean, it sounds like they just genuinely fell in love.
They genuinely had a connection.
What's
So-
your
what was the connection? He babysat her?
30 when she was born, sure.
Oh yeah.
So you really don't want a guy in his 40s babysitting your kid, is what I'm saying.
You probably don't want him dating your daughter either.
This sounds like some perfect discussion points, don't you think?
Yeah, this does. I should probably shut up and just let you handle it.
Here we are. So first question, Aaron. Do you think this situation is gross or unbecoming?
I do not think it's gross. I actually get irritated when people feel that way. Here's my thing. When it comes to love and couples and everything, people are so judgmental. They don't want to do it, so it's gross. And that irritates the crap. I'm just not a fan of that logic. You have people that care about each other. You don't know if it's genuine or not. You have no idea. You do not live in their shoes. You do not know their lives. But people always love to judge. We are in a Judge Judy society. People just walk around just, I judge you, and I judge you, and I judge you, and you don't know them. So my answer, my very, very long and probably a little too angry answer is, no, I don't think it's gross. I think it's fine if they truly, genuinely care about each other. Maybe it's a midlife crisis for him. I don't know. But if they genuinely
midlife, he's like almost to the grave.
Wow.
55?
He's closer to the grave than he is a midlife crisis.
I think that's midlife.
I think it's literally, maybe a little after midlife.
It's a little bit after.
There are advances in medicine. I think he's at midlife.
Depends. What's his lifestyle? Is he a smoker? Let's do a questionnaire real quick.
He'll hold
Don't
tight.
worry, I have John's bio written down right here. No, I couldn't agree more, Aaron.
I mean, to each their own. I mean, that's not some position I would ever want to be in, but
Why?
I don't know. 30 years? I guess I just can't fathom.
Looking at the wrinkles.
Reminds me of Big Daddy. Actually, not even in that way. Just the concept of somebody who I have like a bigger age gap with than my own father or mother. To me, that would just be weird to think about. Like, imagine their wedding. They go to their wedding. Her dad, assuming he's alive.
He shows up in a stagecoach.
Imagine her dad, hopefully he's still alive. He's going to walk her down the aisle to someone potentially older than him.
Mm-hmm.
They should have something to talk about. remember back
You
in the
remember
day?
that?
It'd be one hell of a bachelor party.
I could see her concern with how her family would react, for sure.
Well, she's not concerned in the story. She's an optimist.
She doesn't care at all?
You're saying he said just a little bit ago that John is more concerned.
Yeah,
He said
he's
more
dodging
concerned, but she's not concerned at all?
No, because Sarah in this story is an optimist, so she's not fully grasping the potentiality of the situation.
Well, probably because she's 25. She should be a little worried about what her parents say. I guess it's just me. I would not be able to not think about how my family would feel. And for me, I would constantly be thinking about how does my family feel watching me walk down the aisle with somebody who's 30 years older than me.
Well, first
older
up,
than
can
my
he
family.
walk down the aisle?
Does he need a walker
assistance
yet
of
or
any
a
kind?
cane? He's good to go.
I say that not far from that poor man. So
But and I don't judge that relationship or age differences. If somebody wants to do that, that's fine. But as Aaron mentioned, there are a lot of judgments in society. So I can see why, even in his position, whoever's concerned about it, why they would have concern. Because that could ultimately mean the end of their relationship. If their parents are like, so what was it like 10 years before I came along? They might not be comfortable with it. And if you're somebody where family matters to you, that could destroy any potential for that relationship. If she cares enough about her family to the point where she's like, he could be family one day too, but you guys already are. And if you're not approving and there's no way, if they decide to disown her, kind of like religious situations too. Some people take it that seriously.
more importantly, if she's 25 and let's say her dad, careful estimate, he was 25 when he had her, so he's 50. Does that mean he has to listen to her fiance because he has more life experience? Like, he knows, you know what? I do know what I am talking about. I am older than you, sir.
And
what's the rule?
Maybe Sarah's family is totally cool with the situation, and
maybe
John's preemptively overreacting. He's going to be best buds with her dad.
So they're hippies.
oh God, that would be weird too, though.
Hippies.
Like, what if they're like, oh, let's go grab some beers. We're close to retirement.
Like,
and
why
then they
is-
go
why
to
is
grab
that
some beers.
Why
and
is
then
that
they're
weird? They're golfing buddies, and, you know, except when he starts talking weird stuff about his daughter. That would make it weird. But
I mean,
I feel like even outside of the age difference, don't most brides want their dad and husband to get along?
not that well. Like, I want you guys to have a conversation.
You don't want
and
them to go fishing
I don't-
together?
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
very
know.
interesting.
why, in your story, why is John more apprehensive about it? Is it just because he feels self-conscious because he is older and he feels that it's going to be difficult for him in your story?
Of course. I mean, of course he's afraid of meeting the family because, you know, if they are grossed out by the situation, he could lose Sarah.
Well, this is your story, so you actually did answer it. So my hypothetical doesn't really matter. But in
You can rewrite it.
in the scenario, it could be that the older person would be more concerned because older generations at this point are a little bit more judgmental when it comes to those sort of situations.
Totally disagree with you.
You think so?
Yeah. I
Based
You
think
on
think
Las
older
Vegas.
generations are
exactly.
you think they're more accepting of
No, I don't think
age
they're more
differences?
accepting. I think the younger generation tends to think that they're more accepting, but I see them judging people for just different things. They're just as judgmental. They just don't judge them on the same things.
So you think that older generations are judging on
I think both
other things but not age?
Honest answer, I think both generations, all generations, are judgmental in society.
Mhm.
They just judge on different merits.
Definitely.
Where this younger generation might not judge so much on race or gender issues or stuff like that, and the older generation did. The newer generation does judge on other things. Overweight, what you enjoy, what your hobbies are. You know, there's always something that somebody's judging somebody for. So I always kind of get, I'm not taking offense at you, but I get irked at that argument because people often seem to feel like the younger generation, you know, we're more involved, more advanced. No, you're not. You're just mad about different stuff.
Well, and that's not what I was saying. I was still going along with your point that actually of like how, to me, I feel like older generations are more judgmental of things like age and homophobic, you know, if they're a little bit more homophobic.
That I would agree with, yes.
So my thinking could be if somebody is a little bit more concerned and apprehensive because they're the older party, it could be because they grew up with those people that are of that age group. So they understand their mindset of they're probably not going to be as accepting as my optimistic 25-year-old girlfriend is hoping they will be. I don't know.
Sounds...
That was winded.
Yeah. Moving on. Do you think gender roles play a part here? What if Sarah was 55 and John was 25?
I am glad you asked that because I wanted to flip it, but I'm like, you know what? I keep cutting him off, so I should probably just let him ask his questions. I think that absolutely the younger generation would be just as judgmental in that respect. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that's different, but I do believe that it exists. I think there's a stereotype in society, and it is one of those things where people just don't see it the same way. I don't know why that is. I do believe people see it differently. And it's not fair, but I do believe it's there.
It might have something to do with the idea that older women are considered cougars. And so it's like a prize to go after and win an older woman when you're a younger man. Whereas for women, if you're a younger woman and you go after an older man,
You're a gold digger.
all you have is the scene from Big Daddy. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And so there is that, just, I feel like that stereotype is alive because it's okay if it's an older woman because, you know, that's hot, that's attractive. You're getting an older woman who's experienced sexually and things like that.
Interesting.
That's not the way I would see it. Or I think most people would see it. Most guys would see it. I can't speak to women. I'm not one.
Yeah.
Yeah, finish your thought, and then Zach and I will chime in with our lovely man thoughts.
I guess it's just, and that might be the perception that I've had of, you know, from the encounters I've experienced, where guys seem to, at least some that I've encountered, seem to chase after older women because it's like a prize to them to be able to attain someone that's that experienced. And usually those are successful women that are a little bit older and etc. Where for women, if they're going younger and they're going after an old guy, it's just you're going after an old guy.
Interesting you say that. I was looking at it from the perspective of the older people in the situation, right? If you know John and he's going after a 25-year-old girl, you may think him lecherous or
like a predator
or creepy, yeah, something like that. But if Sarah's 55 and she's going after a young guy, then it's like, yeah, girl, get it. You go get it. You know,
that's another excellent point.
I think a lot of guys don't see it. Okay, I'm going to take you inside the brain of a pigmen. Okay, pigmen.
They do like younger women.
Which are, unfortunately, there's a lot of pigmen out there. I am not one of them, but I do understand how the pigman thinks.
He ain't saying he agrees with it, but he understands.
I 100% am saying I do not agree with it. But I know a lot of them exist. And how they look at it is, John, look at him. He's got a 25-year-old woman. What? Good for you, John. High five. Sees 25-year-old guy going after a 50-year-old or 55-year-old woman. Hey, John, what the hell's going on? There are so many hot 25-year-olds you could have instead. Why that's there? Because men are pigs. So it's 100% not fair, but it is there. And that's how I was saying that I think a lot of guys feel.
And I completely agree with you when I think about it, because there was a study, I think through, I won't say the name of the company, but there's an internet dating website company that released their statistics.
Is it Tinder?
No, it's like
That's good because I don't want my data getting out there. You know what I mean? It's very important.
eHarmony, if I can say it.
They're not a sponsor, so it's
I know, but
I
I know
think it's
sometimes
okay.
you can't talk about the companies.
They're not a sponsor.
I
ever,
love
no.
Taco Bell.
Anyway, so there's a statistic that eHarmony had released about the typically searched and sought after profiles for each age range.
Mhm.
And for women, theirs tended to stay with their age. So they didn't really go opposite from their age. Sometimes that you did see that it was, sort of a little bit older.
Stay with their life experience.
Yeah. But for men, when they're 18 years old, they're looking for someone who's in their 20s.
Mhm.
When they're 20 years old, they're looking for someone in their 20s. When they're 25, someone in their early 20s. When they're 35.
We see where this is going.
Yeah.
So it's like the
Up
old,
until they're like 60-something, 70-something years old. And that was part of their statistics, is that they tend to always go for the young ones and stick with the young ones.
You know what I love about high school girls?
Oh, God.
The more you age, they say the same age.
The older you get.
The older you get, they say the same age. I'm sorry, Aaron. This is clearly your area of expertise.
Oh,
Just,
man.
just being clear. How do you feel about it, Zach? I mean, this whole debate.
I think gender plays a role in it. I feel like I spoke to it earlier, right? John would be seen as lecherous. Sarah's seen as a go-getter. Get the young man, I think, or at least among people in my age demographic, I feel like. I work at a fine dining restaurant right now, and you see guys bringing in young girls, and it's always like snickering behind, in the back. The servers are like, "Oh man, you see that guy? Was that, did he bring his escort in?" Right? But whenever an older lady brings in somebody that's younger, it's quite the contrast. They're like, "Yeah, man, good for her," and it's interesting to see that play out.
That's pretty sad. Like I said, we're a very judgmental society. There's
We really
nobody I know that doesn't judge,
Mhm.
including myself. I'm including myself. There is something every single person I know judges other people for.
Which is a perfect segue into my third question, Aaron.
That's what I was working on. Segues for
Why
you.
perfect expert? You've done this before. Why does society feel a need to force their opinions about other people's situations?
Ooh, I'm glad you asked, Zach. It was a nice segue. Why? Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. That's a hefty question. What I think is that people live in glass houses. I think everybody knows that. We all love our little glass houses, and we love to judge other people because of whatever pitifulness we have in our own lives. The most judgmental people I know are typically people that have very sad lives. They have something either went horribly wrong for them. They have something that just never worked for them. They have some thing in their childhood, something in their adulthood, some pain that they can't get over, and they correlate it with whatever they're very judgmental about. That's what I think happened. The most judgmental people I find are almost always, I hate when people use absolutes, but very often people with a lot of pain or a lot of baggage, and they just can't seem to let it go. The most open-minded people I know are typically people that know how to let things go. And they just accept people for what they are and who they want to be. And I mean, fully. Most of society just needs someone to blame for something so they can feel better about themselves, is my opinion. All of that talk was to get to that opinion. So the great majority of judgments, I think, come from people that are just very unhappy. And they just need to inflict their pain elsewhere. So they judge other people.
The bully mentality transcends into adulthood.
Absolutely, it's the bully mentality. And people think bullies just constantly do mean things or say mean things or hit people or whatever. That's not necessarily true. I think there are a lot of bullies out there that do it very subtly. They're just very sly, it's very
Manipulative.
happenstance, very common or very casual. Just walking by someone and just say a flippant comment about somebody in the break room or something. That leads to talk and gossip and judgments. How many people have worked with someone, people that, you've maybe been in a break room, whatever your job is, and you're a guy or you're a girl, whatever, and an attractive person comes in and talks to you, and you end up taking breaks with them or something regularly. It doesn't take much for people to make judgments about that. If he happens to be like a married guy or she happens to be a married woman, judgments. Well, I mean, he's obviously having an affair. She's obviously having an affair. They obviously have they're dating, whatever it is, people love to inflict their pain on other people because they have sad, sad little lives and they just want to judge other people. It's a product of sadness to me.
Glad to see this topic really brought out some of your opinions there, Aaron.
I am not a fan of judgmental people. I've been guilty of it. Everybody's been guilty of it. But it is one of those things where I think as a society, we keep touting how open-minded we are and how evolved we are. When I see every day, people are not so open-minded or evolved. They might be open-minded on a topic of race or sexuality or gender identity or something like that. But then you see them doing things like that, where they're, without realizing it, causing pain to someone else by judging them and what their actions are, that they don't know anything about them. They don't know their circumstances. They don't know them. They're just judging them. It's not as cruel as judging someone for their race or their sexuality, but it is just as painful in a way because you're inflicting your opinion and affecting their lives for no real evidence, with no real evidence. You're just doing it because it makes you feel good. That's
like
wrong.
Slut shaming. That's
that
a
too,
perfect
yes.
example, I feel like.
Like, you don't know them. You don't know what they went through. You don't know. You don't have a right to do that. It doesn't make you a better person because I accept gay people or I accept minorities, but I'm going to go over here and slut shame this poor girl. You don't know what her situation is. You don't know why she's...
She probably doesn't even spread her legs like you think she does. She's just wearing an outfit that makes her feel comfortable and attractive. And whatever her reasons for doing it, whether it be for herself or for someone else, that's her own deal.
I guarantee you John likes it.
Yeah.
No problem.
I challenge you to follow that up, Amanda.
Well, I'll keep mine short since I'm usually the long one and he took the long-winded response.
I apologize if I was too long.
I lit a fire under Aaron Peterson, I feel like.
You did. It's scorching. So simply, I agree that there is some sort of, when someone is dealing with a lot of sadness, it kind of emits into their judgments and perspectives of the world. But I think it really also comes down to, if I wouldn't do it, you shouldn't do it. If it grosses me out, it should gross you out. If I don't accept it, you shouldn't accept it. And that's really what it is. In simplest terms, whatever their motive is for not accepting it or not liking it or not wanting to do it, that's their own. That may be from a place of sadness and misery, and it may just be from a place of discrimination or judgment. But whatever it is, it's just coming from, I say no, so you should say no. And that's not fair. My life has nothing to do with your life. Unless we are the two people deciding on this relationship, in this scenario, if you're John and I'm, what's her name?
Sarah.
Wow, you can't even remember her. She's not even a person to you yet.
She matters.
Wow.
But if you're John and I'm Sarah, that's the two people that should, truly matter in terms of the opinion of things. But it gets escalated into the situation of everyone else who's around. And not to sound hypocritical, because I do think that your family's not approval, but acceptance is important. And I still think if you believe in it and you're okay with it, you should fight for that. You shouldn't just cower down and
fight
do nothing.
For your love.
Yeah, I mean, if they're a good person, they treat you well, your family should be happy for you regardless of the circumstances, as long as it's legal. But basically, I just think that people are just internally judgmental and they emit their own personal feelings on others when they have no reason to or right to.
Wow.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, judgmental people annoy me highly. In this situation, it affects your life in literally no way that these people are dating. Drives me nuts when things that don't affect your life, say gay people marrying, has no bearing on you. Why it strikes such an ire with people. It drives me insane. And of course, I'm not saying I'm immune from it. Anytime I see a vegan, I scoff. It's impossible not to. But I don't understand what drives people to be so cruel to complete strangers. And maybe it is they're complete strangers, and the anonymity allows you to shame somebody and make yourself feel better about something. Maybe you're upset that you're not John, so you belittle him.
I am. Yeah, John sounds like he's got things going on.
John and Sarah both do. Aaron, they're in love. Yeah, it just drives me bonkers.
Do you see that a lot in the city? As if the suburbs are abandoned.
Yeah, you guys living at a comparative cornfield out there. I think you see it a lot everywhere. How do you not see it?
No, I do see couples that are, there's an obvious age difference. And I'll be honest, I will be 100% honest. I have made judgments on that at times. Like, wow, that took me by surprise. That must be his daughter. Nope, they're dating.
That's a lot of extra math there.
No, I mean, it takes you by surprise. Yeah. I'm not offended by it or bothered by it. Just more, I didn't see that coming. I assumed he was her dad. Because I think as a society, we have this construct in our minds that we have to be the same age to be in love or something. Because, well, you have to have similar life experiences. No 25-year-olds can relate to a 55-year-old. What can they talk about? You don't know. They might have a very old soul. They might be very mature, and he is very immature. I don't know what the age is, but they get together. They have very similar interests. They love the same things. They love wine or flowers or movies or travel, whatever it is. They might love the same things. You don't know. So I just find a hard time judging somebody for that.
Why put so many restrictions on love?
Right. I don't think there should be any restrictions, except maybe they have to be 17. Let's make them legal. But outside of that, no, I don't think there needs to be any restrictions. Why?
Well, you guys think that story was true or fiction?
Oh, man.
I'm going fiction.
I think I'm going to go fiction, too.
Oh, you guys are right.
Sweet.
We get a point.
Is there a scoreboard somewhere? I didn't know we were keeping score.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Someone's keeping track.
I'm sure somebody is, but it's not going to be me. That's more work. I don't want to do that. So what is the name of your story? Did you have a title?
Proposal.
Oh, I like
Simple.
it. Now, is this one of those things where this story might come back up later, so you can't tell us how it ends? Because I'm dying to know.
Well, it's a work of fiction, so I feel like it's going to give it away next time if I use Sarah and John together in a story. But if you want to see more of their lives unfold, Aaron, I would, of course, write that for you.
I would appreciate it, because now I kind of want to, you can use that to talk about how those familial relationships work. Maybe
I don't want to tell too many dark stories about family.
Maybe throw in a twist where John kills the dad or the mom.
Whoa.
Wow. Let's make it
And the moral of the story is, are murders justified?
Maybe the dad kills John at the wedding.
Ooh. Ouch.
It's weird that he waited that long.
Red wedding. Well, he didn't know till like a week before.
They're turning around the engagement to marriage in a week?
They're in Vegas, maybe.
Times are fast these days. People do not have the patience for elongated relationships. They need to get it going. Let's go.
You're not wrong. First Snapchat story is the engagement. The second Snapchat is the wedding.
That's exactly right. Okay. Well, as our show goes, we will occasionally pick listener stories to read and discuss on Smirk. If you'd like the opportunity to have yours read, email it to mystory@smirkpodcast.com. That's mystory@smirkpodcast.com. Join the conversation by joining our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter @SmirkPodcast, and be sure to use the show's hashtag Smirk. Don't miss an episode. Be sure to subscribe to Smirk on your podcast app of choice and check out our website at smirkpodcast.com, where the stories will eventually be up there for you to read in full. And hopefully, Zach, are we going to have an ending? I mean, I feel like you're putting one up. You might as well just end it for me, really. I'm dying to know.
I'll resolve the cliffhanger at a later date. Maybe it'll be an annual story, and I just keep updating you.
Of their life.
They have a baby, and what happens to the baby when...
Right, because dad's not around anymore because her dad murdered him.
Exactly. Or he died of old age.
Yeah, more than likely he did.
What'd you die of? Natural causes.
Women already typically outlive men. She's got to triple that now.
That's right.
That's funny. And before we head out, I want to give a special shout out to Beth for helping me come up with the title of Smirk. Thanks so much, Beth. And also for everybody listening, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Obviously, we're still finding our footing with the show, but I hope you guys enjoy it. We've got some great stories to tell you. Keep coming back. Okay, Zach, you want to take us out?
And as you write your own life story, always remember to tell it with a smirk.